All right, all right, all right. It is Friday. I forgot what date today is. uh, the 16th. Holy moly. Awesome. It is 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time in my end, and we are going live. We're going to give it about a minute or so, making sure that the YouTube channel is receiving the content. It is green. The stream is healthy. That's always a good thing. I'm going to give it a few minutes before we go at it. It looks like we're live. It looks like we're good. So I'm officially start at 7:01. Make sure everything is nice and good to go. Give you guys some times to go get a cup of coffee, go get a snack, something to eat or something to enjoy the show. All right, so it is 7:01. So let's get started. What's up, guys? It is your boy Bernardo from the BTNHD and another exciting The Server Room episode, which is episode number 38. Oh my God, I can't believe 38 episodes so far. I think the last episode that we did was about, I think, 2 hours. Was it 2 hours? I don't remember. I know we did one where it was like 2 hours. So I'm going to try to keep this pretty simple. As you can see with the title, today we're going to be dealing with SharePoint Server 2016. We're doing the installation and the configuration part. This is going to be part one. There's a lot happening with SharePoint, and I just can't do 2 hours, 3 hours straight live stream with you guys covering everything. So I'm going to cover the basics with you guys. And again, as always, I will provide the PowerPoint and whatever notes that I'm going to be showing you guys. All right, so I'm going to switch the scenes because you're going to get started, right? So as always, big thanks to Lenovo. They've been a huge sponsor to BTNHD as well as the server room, providing me a awesome TD340. That is the machine that we are currently using throughout the entire season 1 as well as season 2. Big thanks for Parker, my Discord admin. He created a nice Google Doc for season 1 and season 2. And first quarter of the year, which is going to end at the end of March, my subscriber goal is to hit 50,000. And if you guys look right now, I have about 36,000, which is not that bad. You got to give yourself some goals in life, right? Again, the topic of today is going to be SharePoint 2016. We're going to do the install config part 1. The file that I got was this right here. Again, I'm going to provide the Google Doc for you guys, so don't worry about it. I downloaded the eval version. And one of the cool things about the eval version, if you go into the install instructions, let me zoom in for you guys real quick. They give you a trial product key. Okay, so you get all the features. I think I installed the enterprise version one because I wanted to get everything. Okay. And also, I provided a link for the hardware and software requirements. I am having some issues with my SharePoint, which I'm going to show you real quick. Memory. This guy uses a lot of memory. My virtual machine right now, I think, has 12 gigs of memory, and it's about 80 to 90%, which is really high. But the link right here in the Google Docs is going to basically give you a rundown of the hardware requirements and what you need for your database, for the web server and all that stuff. Best practice, it's best that you do a farm topology. I think there's like 3 tiers. One tier is you do a standalone, which is what I did, right? The second one is you separate your server farm, your database, and then the third one will be you separate your server farm, which is your SharePoint farm, your database, as well as the web. Okay. The way that I'm doing it would be, I think it's tier 1, which is a standalone, everything in one box. I think that's the reason why I'm having a lot of memory issues, because the database is running, the IIS stuff, and the server farm. Everything is running in one box. Okay. So let's close that up. And what we're going to be going over today is, this is the site. And I have another machine right here, which is another virtual machine, which is Windows 10 version 1709. And this is the site right here. And this is the site collection, and within the site collection, we created a site, which I'm going to go over all this stuff with you guys, okay? And if we go inside, this is the main server. This is the central administration is web-based. I know it's not an application that you double-click like a shortcut and it will run within the server. This is all web-based. So if we go within the application management, it loads up. And I want to show you guys, like if I right-click and go to Task Manager, like my memory is like 79. It's going to go a little higher. And I got 12 gigs. I should bump this up. I think CPU, yeah, yeah, 12 cores. But it's the memory is what's really killing me. So let's view all site collections. So I'm going to show you guys how to install SharePoint, install the database, create a site collection, create a web application, site collection, a site, all that stuff, okay? Right now I have two site collections. So my departments is a site collection, main is a site collection, and editors is a site, which is basically this guy right here, editors, okay? So I'm going to close this virtual machine up. And also, let me just go inside application management, and let's manage web applications. And within web applications, you're gonna see. Well, it depends. At the end of the show, if you guys follow me within your lab or you're doing this within a production lab, most likely you're gonna have multiple. But by default, you're gonna have this one, your central administration, which is your default. This is where you're going to do all the admin stuff. You have your default web, your SharePoint, and then you have your site collections. Yeah, your site collections. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go straight to the PowerPoint because it just goes straight to it. There's about 188 slides. Some of them we're going to go really fast forward, and the reason why we're going to go fast forward because it's like installing database, and that's kind of boring. So let me start the stream right here. Let me start the PowerPoint. It's Friday. It's like crazy. All right. Install, configure it, the SharePoint. So the operating system that I picked is Server 2016, build 1607, but you could, I think Server 2016 is on 1709. I'm not too sure. But I'm using Server 2016. That's one of the core requirements, as well as you can install Server 2012 R2. Okay. So roles and features that I installed, only thing that I like to do when I install an operating system, the first thing that I like to install is .NET Framework. The reason why is because you need to have that source SXSS path, right, to point to it to get the .NET Framework. So I always install this by default. So that's the only thing that I installed on this virtual machine, other than add it to the Active Directory and install the VM tools and all that stuff. That's the only thing that I installed. Why? Because I wanted to give Microsoft another chance, because that prep tool that I used with the MIMP, the Microsoft Identity Manager, was horrible. I had a horrible experience. And then I tried 2016. I still had horrible experience. But I just got to show you guys later on, right? Because it got a little crazy for me. So next things is installations file. So I downloaded that that file of the site that I show you guys. It doesn't download it as a ISO file. It downloads it as a IMG file, like an image file. So I would recommend, getting like 7-zip or WinRAR, and you're able to open it up and extract the files. I extracted all the files within my D drive, and within my D drive created a folder called Office Server, and I just dropped everything in there, okay? Now, AD prep. Now, the reason why I'm going over this stuff is because I am trying to implement or get approved, get the funds, money. It's always about IT and the IT budget. I'm trying to get SharePoint Server 2016 implemented at my job. So the majority of all the stuff that I'm doing, the standalone stuff is not one I'm going to do. I'm going to do like maybe a tier 2 or tier 3 implementation, like have multiple servers. So like one server will have the farm, the other server will have the database, and the other server will have web applications. Okay, I already have a web application in the database already implemented. All I have to do is create the farm and allow the farm, the SharePoint server, to point to the database as well as the web server. And I'm trying to do a lot of best practice, the way that Microsoft recommends, because this is the way that I'm going to be implementing it in my job. So a lot of this stuff is not, I'm not going to be using the admin here, admin. This is very common that I always do that stuff. But even though this is a testing environment, I'm trying to do as much best practice. So when I do production, everything is pretty smooth. Pretty smooth for me. So AD prep. So I created a SharePoint OU just for the hell of it. This is my testing environment. Most likely I'm not going to be doing this. And within there, I created 3 accounts. I created a SharePoint SQL, a SharePoint admin, and a SharePoint farm. Now, the SharePoint farm I already had because on the last show we did the Microsoft Identity Manager. So I already had this account, so I just took advantage of it. Okay. Now, SQL Server 2014 installation. I'm going to go real fast on this because it's pretty self-explanatory. I think you are able to get away with SQL Server 2016. I'm using 2014 because I'm licensed on it. I have a full license. Plus, SharePoint 2016 supports 2014 SQL, so it works out for me. So you put the installation CD or DVD or the ISO. You go to installation. From here, new SQL Server, standalone, blah, blah, blah. Hit next. Accept the license and terms. If you don't accept the license and terms, the next button won't highlight. If you want to do the updates, go for it. Hit next. The firewall, again, I am going to show you guys how to configure the firewall because best practice is best that you practice within your, your testing environment. So when you're doing production, everything works the way it works. It works the way that you did it within your lab. So you hit next. I did SQL Server feature installation. Click next. Now, the features that you want is, one, you want the database engine, full text. And I learned this the hard way because when I installed the Microsoft Identity Manager with you guys, I had issues with the full text and SharePoint. So I learned my lesson the last show. Make sure you have full text because SharePoint does need that. And then go all the way to the bottom and install the management tools and also the management tools complete. Now, I left everything as the default as a C drive, but again, if you have a partition, you could drop it somewhere else, but I left it as the C drive. From here, I'm going to leave it as the default instance. You could change it. That's up to you. Again, I'm doing best practice right here. So I changed the account to my SP SharePoint SQL. Now, because this is a standalone machine and I'm doing everything in one machine, most likely my SQL database, when I installed it on a different server, it would be logged into SP SQL. Okay. Gave it the password, blah, 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 and hit next. Added the current user as well as I added the SP SQL. And just for testing and within the lab, I like to enable the mixed mode. I don't know if that's best practice. I know definitely Windows mode is the way to go. Okay, so hit next on that. Got a nice little summary. Hit install. It's going to do its thing, and you're done. Hit close. I always like to do this is go inside the start menu and locate the management studio. Open it up. Make sure that the SQL Server agent is running, as well as the database is green, is good to go. Okay. Now, there is a particular setting that you need to configure within your database for SharePoint, and that's the max degree of parallelism. I think I said that right. From here, within your SharePoint, you want to right-click on the main root of your database, which is this guy right here. Right-click on it, and then go to Properties. Within Properties, you want to go to Advanced and go all the way to the bottom where it says max degree of parallelism. Now, by default, it's set to 0. Within the TechNet blog, it states that you need to change it to 1. Okay. The max degree of parallelism, let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. It says it limits the number of processors to use in parallel plan execution. I'm not going to get, I just read the article and I just like blanked out. I was like, okay, it wants me to change it to 1. Okay. And I didn't even really bother doing too much research on it. I was like, okay, I just need to get this stuff done. That's the requirement that Microsoft states with the database, and I just did it. But I don't really have a full understanding. So I'm not going to gas everyone and be like, oh, the parallelism, this is important. Look, I don't understand it. This is what I got with the Microsoft site, and it stated to change the 0 to 1, okay, for SharePoint to work correctly with the database, okay. Now, the next thing that I did was local user admin groups. You need to add, within the SharePoint server, you need to add your SP admin, because your SP admin is what you're going to be logging into, okay. Yeah, your SP admin account is the account that you're going to be logging into your SharePoint server. That account needs to have full admin rights to that machine, to that SharePoint server, okay? So from your start menu, you want to type edit local, click on edit local users and groups, go to groups, find administrators, go to add, and you want to add your SP admin, okay? And apply it, okay, and then you're good to go. Now we need to set up some SQL permissions. By default, I did the BTNHD. The only reason that's there is because the machine, when I was doing the installation, this is the account that I was logged into. And then you have the SP SQL that I added with the installation. But the next one that I needed to add was, I believe, the SP admin. So you want to right click on logins, go to new login, search. From here, you're going to do your domain and SP admin and OK it. Okay. User mappings would be the following. Actually, no. Yeah, user mappings would be the following. You want DB creator, you want server admin, and you want system admin. Because the SP admin is what you're going to it's what you're going to be using when you do the final configuration of SharePoint Server 2016. So that's the account that's going to have full access to that database to create, to delete, and modify. Press OK, and there we go. Firewall settings. So if your SQL database is on another server, you need to enable firewall settings within the SQL server as well. I think, yeah, only for the SQL server. Okay. So the following, I think it's TCP. The TCP port is 1433 for SQL. So click on Start, type in Windows Firewall. You want to go inside the Windows Firewall with Advanced Settings. So click on that. You want to do an inbound rule. Right click on it, go to New Rule, and it's going to be a port. Click Next. Port that you want to be 1433. Click Next. You want to allow the connection. Click Next. Domain, private, public, it's up to you. I left it as the default. Click Next and give it a name, TCP 1433 inbound. Now, this particular rule should be done within your SQL server. Got it? And there you go. Awesome. Now, next thing that we need to do is run the SharePoint prep tools. Now, I had the worst experience ever dealing with the Microsoft Identity Manager show. I showed you guys all the issues that I had. I had to go offline. I had to download all the files manually and get PowerShell scripts and all that stuff to get everything working. Now, I feel like Microsoft saw my video, heard my complaints, and they fixed the damn tool. Because I used the tool. Well, I used the tool, but I used the tool differently. And I'm going to show you guys how. And it worked. I was shocked. I almost had a heart attack. The damn tool worked and installed all the features, all the roles, everything with no problem. It was like, I was scratching my head like, serious? All right. So what I did was, rather than double clicking on this, which is what I did during my SharePoint 2013 for the MIMP stuff, I double click on Splash. I was like, let me double click on this little guy. Double click on it. It's going to automatically open up within the Microsoft HTML application host. That's what you want. Press OK. You're going to see this guy. You're going to see a nice little splash. It looks all nice and clean. So I just clicked on this. Clicking on this is just basically going to run this. So I said to myself, let me do something different. I'm always double clicking on this, right? Why not? So I clicked on it. I said yes for the user account control. Okay, this is common. You know, I've seen this before. I was saying to myself, okay, let me get ready. Let me jot all this stuff down. because most likely I might have to download everything and get a PowerShell script and do everything manually. So I clicked on next. I accept the terms, hit next. It's configuring the web. It's doing this thing. All right, I'm sitting back. I got a cup of coffee, came back, and wait a minute. Installation completed. So I hit finish. It restarts. I go back inside the server, and it's done. I'm like, wait a minute. Did Microsoft hear me the last show that I was bitching and complaining about their tool and they fixed it behind the scenes? Who knows? But using the prep tool, it looks like it worked. So I was happy that I didn't have to download anything or go online and start Googling for PowerShell scripts or downloading stuff and putting it inside the offline folder. It just worked out. So I'm very happy about that. Okay, now installing SharePoint Server. So, right, from here, I double clicked on the splash and I just clicked on Install SharePoint Server. Okay, all our roles and features and everything that we need was done. You're going to get the user account control. You want to click on yes on that. It's going to start loading. And okay, this is very common. So when you deal with the prep tool, make sure you restart the machine. It doesn't automatically restart. So that dialog box that you guys saw that it stated that it completed, when you click finish, it doesn't really restart. Okay, I think I did say to restart, but it didn't restart. My bad. Restart it manually. Kind of sucks that it doesn't restart. I just remembered. Restart it manually. Once you restart, go back and start it again. Click on install SharePoint Server. Click yes. It's going to start preparing the necessary files. There you go. Now the product key is the one that you could receive within the site. When you're downloading, they give you the standard in enterprise. You could just insert it and you're good to go. Accept the terms, hit continue. By default, it's going to drop everything inside the C drive. So just hit install and it's going to start installing. Once it's finished, boom. Make sure you have run the SharePoint product configuration wizard. You definitely want that to launch. So press OK, and you're going to get this. This is very common. This is what we've seen within the Microsoft Identity Management show. So click on next. Definitely hit yes because you want the following services to be reset during the configuration. You have two options for your server farm. You either have an option to connect to an existing server farm, which I don't, which I do have. I have the MIMP stuff, but I didn't want to use that. Or you want to create a new server farm. For us, we want to create a new server farm. When you click on next, you have your database server. Give it the name, and then provide the username and password. Now, the database server is the same name as the server where I'm hosting and installing the SharePoint stuff. And this is going to be the database name. Now, the user, like I said, specify the database access account. Remember, we added the SP admin because we want that account to have full access to that database to do everything for us. Click next and passphrase and then confirm it. Now this works great if this is going to be your first farm and then eventually you're going to be adding other farms. Then when you get to the part of adding to an existing farm or create a new, you do existing and then you have to add the passphrase here. So make sure you jot it down, put it to LastPass or whatever documentation that you have. Just make sure, keep it safe and remember it. Okay, so from here, you're going to specify the server roles. Like I said, if you have multiple server farms, you could separate the front end. You can separate the application, distributed cache, the search, and custom. Okay, this is like the third tier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 servers. Holy crap. I just basically did the single server farm, which is tier 1, standalone. So click on next on that. And you definitely want to specify a port number, and I kept it as 8888. That is the same port number that I used when I was doing the MIMP show with you guys, and I left it as the NTLM security setting. Okay. Once you click next, you got a nice little summary of everything. I like to take a snapshot of this and put it inside our library documentation to keep sake, and then you click next, and it's going to install. There's 10 steps, and all of this process takes a while. So it's one of those things, once you set it, go to lunch, go get a cup of coffee, walk around your office, start having conversations with people, you just kill some time. And once it's completed, you're going to get this nice little configuration is successful. It's always a good thing. So click finish. It's going to launch your local browser. For Server 2016 is going to be IE. And from here, you could pick if you want to participate. If not, pick no and press OK. And then you go. That's your site. From here, we're going to start the SharePoint Wizard. So when you expand that window, you're going to get a nice little option that says, yes, walk me through the configuration of my farm using the wizard. So click on start. You could do everything manual. It's up to you, but I did the wizard for the hell of it. And it's going to want you to use an existing managed account, because by default, I only have one account, which is SP-admin. Or you could create a new managed account. Now, this managed account is for services applications, service applications and services. So I needed to create an account. So I created a service SharePoint account. So I went inside my Active Directory and I created a SVC, which is the SharePoint service account. It's best practice that you create an account just for that service. Go back in there into all the information. Now, the service applications, I left everything as default. I am going to go over some of this stuff with you guys, so do not worry. Click next. The process takes forever because there's a lot of services that are going to be installed for your server farm, and it's going to take its sweet time. Trust me, it's going to take its sweet time. Eventually, it's going to go straight into the central administration portal, which I showed you guys at the very beginning of the show. So, service application. So, there's many of them. One of them is the access services. Access services allow people to host, access databases in SharePoint. Users are able to create, edit, and update linked access databases and view them directly from the app. Another service is the Excel services, which is a shared service that you can use to publish Excel workbooks on the SharePoint server. Right? The published workbooks can be managed and secured according to your organizational needs and share among SharePoint servers users. Another service is PowerPoint services, and there's a lot more. These are like the most standard basic ones that a lot of your end users are going to be taking advantage of and using, because that's what you have installed on all your machines, right? Office. PowerPoint services is automation services, is a shared service that provides unintended service-size conversion of presentations into other formats. Managed meta services, which I'm going to be going over on part 2 of this show, because it's pretty cool. So the managed metadata service application makes it possible to use managed metadata and share content types across site collections of web applications. User profile services is an application stores information about users in a central location. That's most likely your My Sites, right? Each individual user have their own little portal that they're able to do, customize it, which I'm going to show you guys how to do My Sites and all that stuff. They could customize it, upload their picture, have like documentation up. It's like their personal network folder, but it's on their SharePoint, on the SharePoint server, and they're able to right click on it, edit on the web browser, or share it with other people within their group. Now, adding another managed account is pretty simple, and the reason why I'm adding another managed account because I forgot to add my SP farm. So within your central location, you want to go to security, and within security, click on configure managed accounts. As you can see, the only ones that I have is the SP admin, because during the installation of the server, that's what we use for the database, so it adds it automatically. And then the SP service is what we added when we did the wizard. The next one that I want to add is if you click on register manage accounts, you add your SP farm, your SharePoint farm, and then you put your password. Now, you also have an automatic password change within SharePoint. I don't really know if you want to take advantage of this, but I left it as the default, which is not enabled. and then you press OK. Now you have 3 accounts. You have your SharePoint Farm, SharePoint Admin, and then you have your SharePoint Services. Okay. Now the logical architecture of SharePoint. What the hell do I mean? So SharePoint can be broken down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. You have your farm, you have your web application, site collection, application pool, content database. Now your web application is the highest level component in the logical architecture of SharePoint. It's an IIS site that will contain SharePoint site collections. It has its own application pools, and it can be restarted independently within IIS. All right. The next level is site collections. It's a web-based platform for many sites, and can organize those sites into logical groups. After that, there's application pool. It separates sets of IIS workers processes that share the same configuration and application boundaries. It's used to isolate web applications for better security, reliability, and performance. And then the last thing that kind of puts everything together, or like houses everything, is the content database. Now, it hosts all the content within the web application, the site collection, and the application pool. And you could associate with one or more content databases with a web application. So to explain it, right, so we're going to stop it right here. And I am going to switch it. And where's my pen? All right, so I'm going to draw it for you guys. I'm going to try to draw it, right? So let's open this up real quick. All right, so we're going to start it this way. Let's start blue. So you have your farm. This is your farm. All right, this is your farm. And your farm consists of your server, right? The SharePoint 2016 server. Now, within your farm, you have web applications. So let's change the color to this guy. So you have your web applications. Just going to create 2 for the hell of it. These are your web apps, right? Inside your web apps, you have site collections. So let's change that to this. So you have, do that same color. Let's do this. Okay. So those are your site collections. This is your site collection. That's your site collection. Inside your site collection, you have your sites. So let's change the color on that. Let's change this to something else. Then you have your sites. Okay. Within your site collection, you can have multiple sites. Now, I don't know the exact number, but I mean, there's a crap load of sites that you can have within your site collection. It's crazy. But that means you have to have the hardware to support all those sites. The more sites or more site collections that you have, the more resources your machine is going to be using. Okay. Now this is your sites. This is your sites. Okay. Now you got 2 more levels. We have the application pool, and then we have the content database. Now your application pool, which is this would be your application pool. So that's the next layer. And they're both separate. So that's your application pool. Application pool. Spelled it wrong. And then last but not least is your content database. So let's pick black for that. So this one will have its own content database. Content database. Content DB. Okay. Those are 2 separate ones. Got it? So you got your farm, you have your web application, you have your site collection, you have your sites. Within your sites, site collection and web applications, they could be hosted inside an application pool. And within the application pool, outside of that, you will have your content database. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so let's go back. And let's go back in full. So the next thing that we need to do is create a web application, because we already did our farm. Our farm was the server installation, right? So creating a web application is pretty simple. So within your central
administration site, you want to go inside Application Management. Click on Manage Web Applications. As you can see, I have my central administration, which is what's created during the installation, and then you have this as well. These two are automatically there when you're doing the installation of the SharePoint. So what you want to do is click on New. Once you click on New, it's going to say working on it. It's going to take a while, and you're going to get this beautiful Create New Web Application. So what you need to do right here in the red is change the name. I gave it BTNHD-intranet port 80. Definitely give it a host header, because the host header is what you're going to be entering within the browser to get into it. Also, when you change the host header, keep in mind the path should change to the host header. Okay. From here, you want to go a little down. You don't want to have anonymous users logging into it, so hit no. And I'm not doing SSL, so I hit no on that. By default, it's going to be NTLM, so you can leave everything as is. Then go all the way to the bottom, because we need to create what? Our application pool. It's pretty weird, because you create the web application, then you create the application pool within the web application. Weird, right? You would think that you would create the web application first, then the site collection, then the site, then the application pool. But within here, you create the web application first, then within the form of creating a web application, you are able to create the application pool, the app pool. So create a new one and change the name. Okay. Now the name that I gave it was BTNHD-intranet because it made sense. I left it as the .NET V 2.0. Actually, you don't need to do that because you're creating a new app pool. And then definitely the security account for the app pool, I gave it the SP admin. Now for the database, this right here automatically is going to be pre-populated. If not, make sure that you enter the database server. Because I'm doing it locally, it's going to give me my local database. Now, the database name, it gives you all this gibberish. I don't recommend keeping it this way. So to clean it up, just change the name to something, obvious. I'm creating a web application that's for the intranet. Let's give it intranet, right? The database, you're going to give it Windows, which is recommended. And then if you go all the way to the bottom, these are all the services that are going to be installed within your web application. Okay? So go to the bottom and click OK. It even tells you this shouldn't take long. That's so BS. It's going to take a while for it to process. But eventually, when everything is done, you're going to get, this is again me waiting. And you're going to get this. Right? It's always a good thing, right? No errors, no nothing. You're going to get this little dialog box. Click OK, and the Central administration should refresh, and you should see your new web application. Cool. So I did the same thing over, nothing special. All I did was just change the host header to mysites.btnhd.edu because that is my domain, and I just changed the name. Same process. I left all the services as is. You could go through all the services and just disable the ones that you don't need. But because I'm testing everything out and I want to see how everything works and looks and feels, I left all the services as the default on. Now, the next thing you need to do is configure your DNS because you're doing everything within your environment. You want to configure a couple of a host records. So within your DNS, you want to go inside your reverse lookup zone, go inside your domain. You want to right click and create a new host. And then from here, you're going to do intranet, right? And the IP address of your SharePoint server. Now I did that twice, and one was for the my sites and the other one was for intranet. So that means when I type in intranet.btnhd.edu / the site collection on the site, it should take me directly there. Okay. Now the next step is creating a site collection. So far we created our farm, we created our web app. Within our web app, we took care of our app pool. So the next thing is site collection. So within the site collection, there's 3 things that you need to do. One is the web application, which we did. Quarter templates, which I'm not going to go over during this show. I'll probably go over in part 2. And then manage path, which we go over as well today. So the managed path has 2 ways. I think did I block it? Let me see. Because there's 2. I think I blocked it. Let me see. There it goes. I blocked it. My backslash. I gotta make sure I save that for you guys. I gotta make sure I save that correctly. Because the managed path has 2 types. You have explicit path and then wildcard. Now the difference between both of them is that explicit allows for a single site collection to be created, and then wildcard is designed to allow child URLs for unlimited site collections. So for example, let me do a little bit full screen for you guys real quick. This is our web application. For me, it was intranet.btnhd.edu, and then the site collection, whatever you create, and your site. Okay. Now to create a managed path is super simple. So within your crap, what do you call that thing? I forgot already. So within application and management, and within manage web apps, manage web apps. I always forget. From there, you want to select your site. Now I pick intranet. You gotta make sure you highlight it, because if you don't highlight it, this stuff will be grayed out. We want to manage the path of our intranet. You're gonna get this defined. By default, you have 2 of them. You have root and sites, which is a wildcard and a exclusion. So the one that I created, I wanted to create a main, and it's going to be a exclusion and add the path. It's that simple. Next one I wanted to add was departments, and this is going to be a wildcard. And the reason why is because within departments, I'm going to have editors, sound people, etc., etc. And same thing, click on add, and then OK. So I just created 2 managed paths, right? It's that simple, guys. It's that simple. Press OK, and then you're good to go. From here, click on app management. Go to create site collection. And then now it is time to create our site collection. I mean, the only thing that we did was manage the path. We created 2 paths. One explicit, I'm probably saying it wrong, and the other one is wildcard, okay? So now it's time for us to create our site collection. So make sure your web application is the one that you want. If it's not, you can click on this guy right here and you're able to change it. This is the one that we're taking care of. You want to do is give it a title, give it a description if you want, and for your website address, we're doing the main first. So click on main and go all the way to the bottom. You're going to select your template. It's going to be team site. Team site is very popular with SharePoint. A lot of people will use that. Then you want to provide your primary site collection admin as well as your secondary site collection admin. So I just gave these 2 guys. And again, I'm not going to go over the quota template right now with you guys. Most likely part 2, we will deal with it. So what you want to do is click OK. And it's going to start doing this again. It will take some time, so be patient. And you're going to get this. Done. Main site is done. Press OK. And you do the same process. Okay, same process. I got the main right there with departments. So what do I mean? So let's say, let's see, what's the next thing? Because I want to show you guys something. All right, so I'm going to close that up. So the way that I got departments and editors is the same process with main. But rather than picking main, I pick departments. And then once you pick departments, I'm able to create editors. So for example, let's do this. Application management, right? Let's create a site collection. I'm not going to create one now. I just want to show you the process. So give it a name, give it a description. From here, departments. Don't see main anymore. The reason why you say main, because you can only use an explicit exclusion managed path. I think I said that right. Only once. Once you use it, that's it. If you're using a wildcard, you could use the wildcard many times. Why? Because the site is going to change. Got it? You got your site collection. In the site, I created editors. This one would be, audio people, whatever you want to call it. You could do multiple sites. Okay? So that's the reason why I have editors there. Let's go full. Next thing that we need to do is go to app management and create site collection. And again, because I already took care of the intranet stuff, it's time to take care of the my site stuff. So you want to click on the little arrow and it's going to say change web app. Click on it and you get this nice little window and pick your my sites. And there you go. The title is going to be my site host. It's going to be the root. Okay. Because my sites is going to be the user profile services for people, we need to do this first. So it has to be the root and it needs to be enterprise my site host. If you do not do this, it will not work. Trust me, I learned the hard way, and I'm so happy that I took snapshots of my virtual machine. From here, you want to assign a site collection admin, primary, as well as a secondary. The quota stuff, we're going to take care of that on part 2. And click OK. It's going to start working, and eventually, bam, your my site, it is done. Press OK. From here, you can press OK, or another thing that I did within application management, manage web applications, and then manage path. Now I'm creating manage path. Okay. You need to do the site collection first for your my sites. This is for your user profile because we need to do self-service site creation for your user profile services. It's weird. On this right here, if you want to use this, you need to do the site collection first, then go inside manage paths. And then from here, you do personal. This is going to be a wildcard. And I'll press OK. Now you're able to do a self-service site creation. Allow users to create site collections and define URL namespace. By default, it's turned off. You want to turn it on. Okay. And quota, we're not dealing with it right now. Oh, sorry. And definitely want this to be hidden. You want to hide it from users, and you want to turn off, and then just press OK. And that's it. It's done. Today's show was pretty short. That's it. I'm not going to create it because it's going to take forever. I think the only issues that I have so far is just memory issue. Like, this guy takes a lot of memory. I might have to, bump up the memory. Processor speed, I have no issues, but it's the memory that is killing me. I wonder what's the memory recommendation for. So this is for SQL Web App Server Farm. This is for in a 3-tier, 12 gigs, 16 gigs. This is basically the recommendation for close to 16 gigs. So I could bump it up to 16 gigs on my virtual machine to see how well it works. And SQL Server, you could go up to 2016. Cool. Oh, in 2017. Wow, cool. For server, you could do 2016, which I did. I did standard, and you could also do 2012 R2 standard or data center. Cool. Nice. All right, so let's go inside the chat before I end the show. We're doing pretty well. How is everyone doing tonight? Let's go through some of the chats and say hello to everybody. What's up? Hi, Ben. How you doing? Who else? We have one person spamming my thing, but he's been blocked out. Gotta love the Nightbot. Gotta love those things. We got Joey B. Where can I build a cheap test lab? My computer has not a lot of RAM. It's really hard. You gotta have a machine that's really strong processor wise and a lot of memory as well as a lot of storage. Uh, building a cheap test lab it's not really cheap. You got to spend money to have a good machine. I mean, and it also depends how many virtual machines you want to run on that particular lab. So it's really hard to give you a definite answer. We have Tyler. He says, "Sweet, I have 1 hour layover, so this should be good." Awesome. I'm happy. Hopefully you get home safe, Tyler. Thank you for watching. We have Tyler now. Just got to do the same thing for SCCM. Yeah, I got to love SCCM. I got Ben King says, "Wow, they must have fixed that the tool recently. When I ran the tool, I had a lot of issues with." Yep. Tell me about it. This is nuts, right? So it looks like Tyler and Ben had the same issues. And I feel like Microsoft or the government, someone was listening to us bitch and complain the last show about it. And it worked. Like literally, I was shocked. My heart stopped when I used it. It was just nuts. It just worked. All right. So Ben, yep, it's true. Sometimes it is easier to download and manually install all the requirements rather than using the tool. But I mean, Microsoft provides the tools. Why you don't want to just take advantage of it? Just use it. It's there. That's the whole point of those tools, to make us admins and IT individuals life easy, right? We just want to just double click on it, let it do its thing, come back, and just finish the rest of the installation. All right, so it is 7:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to end it in 1 more minute. I appreciate all the love and support for those individuals that tune in. Again, do not worry. The Google Doc as well as the PowerPoint will be provided for you guys. At the bottom of the video, at the description, there is a link at the GitHub repository where I drop all that goodness for free. How awesome is that? You don't have to pay me. It's just there for you guys. Knowledge is power. We're here to learn we're here to learn together from each other. You know, that's how awesome is that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show, episode 38. I don't know what's going to happen next week. I'm trying to push part 2 of the SharePoint stuff for next week. If not, I'll let you guys know. Thank you so much. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a enjoy the lunar, what is it, the lunar year? What is it? What animal is it? The year of the dog. So enjoy your weekend. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. All right, so I always forget how to end this. I think if I press this command, it should be over, right? I think so. Did it do it? Wait. All right, guys. I'll see you later.